I guess with that said, our next segment, whatever's left of the Monday Night Raw review.
Yeah. And hey, you know what? It's okay because we had a great opener tonight. We opened up with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Never fails.
Never fails at all. They have their relationship worked out. So, and can I just say very quickly, because I've been reading a lot of articles, over the week, with Paul Heyman talking about all different things with Brock Lesnar, his championship match against John Cena, his time in UFC. Paul Heyman has got to be one of the best promoters I've ever seen.
The best.
Because if there's anything...
Think about it this way, John. He spent most of the 90s trying to take Vince McMahon out of business, and then he worked for Vince McMahon and pissed him off so much that he fired him, and now he's back to working with Vince McMahon.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if I would call him a promoter as much as I would just call him a con artist.
And then they thought Jim Ross had a tumultuous relationship with the company.
Yeah.
But, if there's one thing that I love about the Heyman-Lesnar pairing, and I've said this consistently, and I'm not even a big boxing fan. I've watched maybe like 2 or 3 fights total. But they've got that prize fighter promoter relationship, and it works so well on WWE TV because Heyman gave an interview. I don't know if it was like Busted Open Radio or some kind of wrestling affiliate, and he says, people are going to complain about Brock not showing up every week. My question is, why is that even a problem? That raises Brock's stock. That makes
I know, dude. I feel like I've said this so many times, and even like back when Del Rio was champion and he would no show for a week or two because of his work visa, all I was saying was that, oh, this is great, this is working, this is awesome. They need to build it up like the champion only fights when he gets paid the big bucks, which would be the pay-per-views. And like now they're it's almost like they're unintentionally going to be able to do that with Lesnar.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. If WWE could learn anything, and I rarely ever say this because I always respect them as independent entities, but if there's anything that WWE could learn from the world of, and I will say boxing because that's what I've been building on, it's that, champions, especially now that it is just one title now, especially now, I like this mentality. I think it works. That's kind of why I like the Kevin Nash character in TNA too, because he said, "Hey, you want me to fight you? You go in the back. You get Cornette to write a check for me for $100,000 and you for $100,000. I ain't gonna fight for free." And I love that mentality, especially when you're a heel like Lesnar is. It makes so much sense. Why would you go out there? And, because of, JBL, when he was in industry, Rey Mysterio called it machismo, or that warrior mentality, go out and start something with the risk of you getting hurt, or the risk of you coming out on the losing end of something. I like this approach they have to sports entertainment, and it works. And this is why I feel like if Brock does win the championship, which, to be honest, I'm not as convinced as I probably should be that he will.
Yeah.
But if he does, this is probably going to be the best part-time title reign, because we know that The Rock had one. A lot of people couldn't stomach it. I was about it. This is going to work because he's a heel, because of the mentality they have. And Heyman just talking up Lesnar, telling Cena fans, you want to buy this because this will be the last time you see John Cena. Just like when he destroyed The Rock at SummerSlam 02, you didn't see him for 6 to 8 months. Just like when he destroyed Hulk Hogan, you didn't see him for a full year. Well, we're taking Cena out for good. And that got a big pop. And that was actually one of the most worthwhile things about this Raw was the crowd. I was surprised how reactive they were to virtually everything on this show. But these guys are great together, dude. Every time.
It's amazing. It's really, really, like the whole dynamic between the two is really phenomenal. I love it.
And you know what I love too, and I didn't think he'd go there because he talked about it when he gave the UFC interview. Because like I said, I've read a lot of material leading up to this matchup. And he actually does talk about the diverticulitis.
Yep.
That Brock's over. And he said that's the only reason he didn't get the 1-2-3 against you at Extreme Rules, and he still left you a battered and broken mess. And that Brock.
And what I loved about that is that he didn't just say he had diverticulitis, he specified Brock Lesnar was at 50% when he last fought John Cena. I was like, oh yes, he used the number.
Exactly, because that makes you say in your mind, for those who remember that match, and I went back and I rewatched it a couple months ago, and I remember certain scenes quite vividly. And if you have that kind of memory, or if you've gone back and you rewatched the match, you think to yourself, buying into the hype, holy crap, what is Cena gonna do? Because I remember Brock Lesnar when he burst on the scene. The guy was a freaking animal, destroyed everybody. And if we're gonna get that similar Brock at 100%, you have to figure John Cena doesn't have a chance in hell of retaining the championship. And what I love about it too is that, and I knew tension wasn't gonna happen between them, but you saw Brock shoot Heyman a look when he was gonna go and play that card, which shows that even though Brock's a heel, he is, again, that prize fighter in the sense that he's got a lot of pride.
He doesn't want any excuses to be made up for him.
He doesn't, because he knows he's capable of anything.
And he doesn't want to be shown in a weakness. He doesn't want anybody to make it seem like he's ever had a weak moment ever.
And that's why I'm so happy that Heyman specified, this isn't Brock, this is me as just an observer and an advocate telling you this. And it worked so well. I'm amazed that, a matchup where, I was only really going to be into it because of the problem. And I do think they'll have a great match because I thought they killed it at Extreme Rules in 2012. Again, it isn't even now in my most anticipated matchups. But this was some brilliant promo work, again, on both sides. But Heyman killed it. And then the rap. Dude, I lost it. I thought that was gold.
Dude, you loved the rap. My favorite line from this whole thing was the Paul Heyman referring to himself as an advocating Jew. I just about died, man.
Yeah. The lengths that Heyman is willing and is permitted, thankfully, to go are what have made this so spectacular. I do wish, and I even said to you, they did touch on it a little bit. Brock Lesnar getting his hands on Hulk Hogan in 2002. I wish, besides the Undertaker screenshot, they could have shown video footage of his 2002 victory. They could have shown footage, but I guess people just wanted them to watch the match on the network so I can understand. Yep. Of Cena Lesnar in Extreme Rules 2012 or Hulk Hogan in 2002. Just to show what he is really capable of. Because I feel like people, if you're by the off chance experiencing Brock Lesnar for the first time, I feel like it's so important to acquaint that audience with his brutality, especially if they're a Cena fan at the same time.
Show the Zach
then
Allen
you're really
clip.
thinking to yourself, oh yeah, the most hilarious segment ever, by far. Yeah. Lesnar, he even screamed tonight to close Raw that he is a mercenary. He is doing the bidding of the authority. He's doing bidding for himself because he is a conqueror. I love the little adjustment they made to the t-shirt. Brock Lesnar is in himself a commodity, which I'm sure you could say that for every superstar, but they really have made Brock Lesnar a walking, talking, breathing brand. And he kicks ass. And that's what he does. That's what he does. So,
John, I want you to know his music hit twice tonight, and I popped huge for both of them.
Exactly, because you know what? They know how to use Brock Lesnar. They know how to work the limited dates. They know when to make him appear and when not to appear, though, again, we did have that little bit of a snafu with the punk bitch line and a no-showing. I think he can be a part-timer that makes a championship reign work because of how he carries himself. If he does win the gold, I might even pop if he wins the title because I think, well, now who's going to beat him? Because that's the next question you immediately ask yourself. A lot riding on this SummerSlam. I am becoming more intrigued in this match. We'll see if they do anything for Friday, even if it's just a recap of Raw. But this was exceptional stuff.
Absolutely. Now, this is the first time we're doing this, so we kind of messed up a little bit, but I do want to backtrack a little bit, and I want to go back and give that brief review of Smackdown that we were supposed to do.
Okay. All right.
All right. So I have very, very, very brief notes here. If I forget to mention anything that you wanted to talk about from Smackdown, be sure to bring it up. We had Mark Henry and Big Show versus Ryback. Henry and Show won with the dual World's Strongest Slam choke slam. Dean Ambrose officially announced that his stipulation would be a lumberjack match. Sin Cara faced off with Border Patrol Damian Sandow, and Sin Cara, of course, won that with a senton. Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins was an amazing match, and Rollins won very decisively with the curb stomp, with the blackout. Paige defeated Natalya in another very decisive match. This one was a lot quicker and not nearly as much of a clinic as Ziggler-Rollins, because Natalya ended up tapping out to the PTO. Although there was one really cool spot where Natalya had Paige in a sharpshooter, and Paige reached the ropes, and Natalya didn't want to let go, so she started dragging her to the middle of the ring, and Paige had grabbed the ring skirt, and the ref forced the breakup. It was pretty cool. But yeah, Paige won with the PTO. Rusev faced off with Big E and won with the Accolade. Big E was alone, so I guess they're kind of backpedaling on the whole Big E Rusev or Big E Woods Kofi faction. And our final match of the night was Randy Orton versus Dean Ambrose. Ambrose hit Dirty Deeds and would have gotten the 3 count, but Rollins pulled him out of the ring after the 2 hit the ground, and we had a post-match beatdown with Orton and Rollins destroying Ambrose.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you hit everything. Really enjoyed Rollins Ziggler. I thought that was great. Bit perplexed about Rusev Big E. I'm hoping this doesn't mean that WWE has dropped this new faction, because you know how into it I was just from the debut promo alone from Woods. I was really ready to sink my teeth into this. Orton Ambrose killed it. Love Ambrose's babyface psychology as always, and like that Paige handled Natalya so quickly. That was cool too. I actually really enjoyed this SmackDown, and it was great to see Big Show again. He does look to be in good shape, and I don't know how far Big Show and Mark Henry are going to go as a team. Time will tell. But yeah, I thought it was a very solid show overall.